Hey, happy Tuesday, August 27th, 2024. We have more weather information to talk about, as well as many big changes coming to the United States with these weather changes. So let's get on right into it. And starting off today, we have the slight risk of severe weather, basically from the Great Lakes back into the Midwest here. And today's threats could include some hail, an isolated tornado or two, predominantly over here in the Michigan region. I definitely, especially around this time, I think back in the Wisconsin and Illinois area, that's less favorable. And the more favorable areas will be further over here now, heading more into the Ohio region, the Greater Lakes Ohio coast region, or beach line, as this as a line of storms, which we'll get to the future radar here in a second, progress off. We also have a small wind threat as well. However, that is not all that we have. We also have a day two slight risk of severe weather in two areas. One for parts of the mid Atlantic back into mid Atlantic or Ohio Valley into the mid Atlantic, and one all the way back up here in the north central tier of the United States. Both of these threats do include a hail threat. However, the greater hail threat will be back up in the north central, which actually has a outline for possibly significantly large hail, which is not uncommon for that uh, geography in that type of area. However, we do have a long spread 5% for that slight risk back into the mid Atlantic region. We also have a 2% tornado chance. This is only for the north central part of the United States. Again, very low. It's very isolated tornado risk. However, it is definitely out there. And then we do also have a wind risk, both in both areas, and both just should be predominantly the normal damaging winds, 60 plus. Nothing more than that. And then we do have a day three. This is all everything combined. We have a 15% for everything combined right here in parts of Iowa and Minnesota. Threats like this could include isolated tornado, damaging winds, and isolated large hail. So let's get into the future radar here. This is today the rest of today's risk and tomorrow's risk. And you'll note that we have had this line of storms here, which has actually started way yesterday with an enhanced risk that had started a line of storms way over here and pushed them all the way to over here. And these storms are expected to continue to move southeast ish, and but they were going to significantly weaken out here, as you note. Upon them entering the upon them entering the PA state lines, we will have significant storms back over here in the Chicago region erupt, where there is that kind of isolated tornado chance. However, again, I definitely think it's much less favorable over here. And to be quite honest, over here, as these storms are pretty much almost out of there. If there were to be any tornado threat, I would say could could be in this region. However, I the general tornado risk will be low in general. The predominant risk will be damaging winds. But as these storms come over the lake here and really slow up and kind of weaken off as they move into the PA state lines area in the PA north part of PA, we'll have a ton of storms back over here in Illinois and parts of Missouri, northeastern Missouri, erupt, and which will congeal into a line here, which we'll do note. We'll see that line kind of congeal off, and we'll have this big cluster of storms begin to move up, kind of shift almost, kind of shuffle almost, before just shooting straight south right here with some extra storm activity a little bit further down to the west in more of Missouri and Illinois. However, the more central zone will be through Indiana and those storms will eventually kind of weaken off and die and slowly die off as the day or as the morning hours continue on. As morning hours continue on. So let's take a look at the supercell composite values here for tornado chance. So you can see the only real greatest tornado threats way up here, which is in the highlighted zone. However, there are no current storms there as of now. However, there is that risk again, right here in the Chicago area when where those storms initially blow up here. You'll see that, but that quickly drains off, and eventually there is predominantly no tornado threat whatsoever. If we take a look at shear profiles to see if, like, how the storms really spin, see if they can really get going. When these storms do initiate, there will be low amounts of shear for tornadoes. However, for damaging winds, there will be enough for damaging winds, as well as these storms will predominantly last a good while, as there is 4 to 5,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE or potential storm juice with and some just juice for storms. And this and that's why these storms will carry over kind of so far and kind of live for so long, especially that line up here. The reason they live for so long is because they lived for so long. All the Cape was just there was enough Cape across the region. However, after these next three systems move through, we will get sort of a break almost in the weather world. We had a somewhat of a break here. This is the jet stream, the 500 millibar jet stream. This is how we take a look at upcoming storms throughout the United States here. And if we take a look, we'll see we will have a few more storms roll in and out of here. You'll see we'll have this one and a previous one. But we'll kind of get us a little bit of a stall right here. And that's because we'll have this kind of a little bit of a stall out kind of happen, preventing this next trough right over here from getting in. It will kind of begin to stall for a little bit of time, but if that won't last for long, that'll quickly protrude into a much larger trough system as the high pressure begins to shift more off to the east. We'll have this trough right here, this negatively tilted trough, which could bring the potential for some severe weather uh in the beginning weeks of September, anywhere from the 1st to the 15th. There could be some possibly out severe weather outbreaks, quote unquote, throughout the Midwest, as these trough systems that move in the area will bring some severe weather to the Midwestern regions as they swing across the United States. However, this one's unique as it swings across, it gets cut off from the main jet stream up here, and it kind of you'll see this is it. It kind of gets stuck, it kind of gets stuck right here, and this could cause either very like cooler temperatures here and then higher temperatures out to the side. So basically, it'll keep the cool air in for most of the Midwest region, and then hotter temperatures out to the west and east. Or it could bring severe weather as it quickly fades off and begins to die off before we have the next storm system begin to move into the United States. So which looks to be a very active beginning months here for September, which is a little bit out of the ordinary, as you would expect it will go calm and then it'll kind of heat up as the month goes on. However, that is not the case. Things are going to kick off pretty quickly here as the month really gets into gear. But this will also affect the temperature plot here. So, as you know, temperatures in the eastern part of the United States are significantly well above average. I've been talking about this now for a couple of weeks, and this is totally non-common. It's end of summer. These last kind of brutal big heat waves, so to speak, will kind of shoot through the area. As you know, fall is right around the corner. Fall's coming closer soon enough. Sun goes down earlier, stuff like that. So we'll have this really intense heat sit over the eastern part of the United States and give some cooler temperatures to the northern and western parts, which have needed it, as they've been in a lot of heat, and that a lot of heat recently. However, that will quickly return, as we'll have this big block. We'll have the whole mid Atlantic to Midwest just burning heat in the northeastern region here, basically from upstate New York up into Maine, will be significantly below average. However, that will change as we get these systems that move through here. We'll see temperatures do stay pretty warm. However, you can see out west here, things really heat up. They get very hot. And this is a little bit weird. It's a weirder weather pattern. You can see a lot of cooler temperatures here in the eastern part of the United States and a lot of hotter ones. This is not uncommon. It's just it's unusual for this time of year. You would usually typically expect this a little bit later into September, but then you'll see, around September 2nd to the 3rd, temperatures get really below average all across the eastern part, and the west is just sitting in this heat. And that is because of high pressure that will set in over here. That will because high pressure that will set in right before that storm system comes through, the big one that could protrude or could cause some severe weather, possibly potential outbreaks here and there. But then you'll see we'll have the heat begin to transition off to the east, and then we'll have that storm system sweep across the United States, bringing much anticipated severe weather, which has I've been talking about now for a couple of weeks. That'll finally be happening. But yeah, so that is the future. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe, and I will see everybody in the next weather forecast.